In the village of Nyanikrom, nestled between rolling hills and lush cocoa farms, lived a young woman named Akosua. She was known for her beauty, strength, and wit, and her laughter was as melodious as the village drum beats during festivals. Akosua had married the love of her life, Kweku, a humble and hardworking farmer. Though their union was short, it was filled with joy, and the villagers often marveled at the love they shared. One fateful evening, as the sun sank behind the hills, casting long shadows over the fields, tragedy struck. Kweku had gone to the forest to fell trees for firewood but never returned. Days later, the villagers found his lifeless body by the riverside. They believed the forest spirits had claimed him, leaving Akosua a widow before her heart could fully savor the sweetness of marriage. Grief-stricken but determined, Akosua held her head high as she mourned her husband. However, her peace was short-lived. Days after the funeral, the elders of the family summoned her to a meeting under the great baobab tree. There, seated in a semicircle, they spoke of tradition. Akosua, began Nana Anchi, the oldest and most respected elder, our customs are clear. When a man departs without an heir, his brother must step in to secure the lineage. It is Kweku's elder brother, Kwabina, who will now take you as his wife. Akosua's heart sank. Kwabina was nothing like Kweku. He was loud, brash, and had a reputation for laziness and cruelty. She had seen the way his eyes lingered on her even before Kweku's death, and the thought of being bound to him filled her with dread. But Nana, she began, trying to mask the tremor in her voice, must love and lineage always bow to tradition. I loved Kweku with all my heart, and I carry his memory within me. Should that not be enough to honor him? The elders shook their heads solemnly. Nana Anchi's voice grew stern. A woman alone in our land is a leaf blown by the wind, Akosua. Without a man, who will protect you? Who will carry on the family name? This is not just about you, it is about our people and our ways. Tears welled in Akosua's eyes, but she bit her lip and remained silent. She knew that to speak further might provoke their anger. As the meeting ended, her heart burned with a mix of fear, sorrow, and something else, a spark of rebellion. That night, under the watchful gaze of a bright, full moon, Akosua sat on her mat, staring at the horizon. She thought about the life Kweku had wanted for her, one filled with choice, happiness, and dignity. As the village quieted, and the drumming of her heart grew louder, Akosua made a silent vow to herself. The dawn would bring with it the first steps of her journey, though whether toward submission or resistance was yet to be seen. As the first cock crowed, heralding the new day, Akosua rose from her mat, her thoughts heavy but her spirit determined. She knew she could not leave things as they were. Tradition was strong, yes, but her heart was strong, too. She tied her cloth tightly around her waist, each knot symbolizing the resolve she carried. The women of the village gathered at the stream every morning to fetch water and share the stories of their lives. Akosua joined them, her ear tuned to their whispers and laughter. Among them was Afia, the medicine woman's daughter, who was known for her wisdom and boldness. Afia, Akosua began cautiously when the other women moved ahead, do you believe all traditions must be followed, even when they break the soul? Afia paused, balancing the clay pot on her hip. Not all traditions are meant to stay forever, Akosua. Some are born of fear, and others of love. The wise know when to honor them and when to change them. She tilted her head, her keen eye studying Akosua. Why do you ask this, my sister? Akosua hesitated but then sighed. The elders want me to marry Kwabina, Kweku's brother, to honor custom. But he is not the man I want, nor the life I desire. Afia set her pot down and placed a hand on Akosua's shoulder. You are not alone in this, Akosua. Many have walked this road before, and some have found ways to make their own paths. If you are willing, I will take you to my mother. She is old but wise, and she may guide you in finding another way. Grateful yet cautious, Akosua nodded. Thank you, Afia. I will come when the stars rise. As the sun climbed higher, Akosua returned to the village, her resolve growing. But her actions had not gone unnoticed. Kwabina, lounging in the shade of his compound, saw her return with determination etched on her face. A sly grin spread across his lips as he called to his friends, "Look at her. She walks as if she has power in this matter. She will learn soon enough that tradition cannot be outwitted." That evening, as darkness cloaked the land and fireflies danced like scattered stars, Akosua slipped away to Afia's hut. The air was thick with the scent of herbs and smoke when Afia's mother, Nanaya, emerged, leaning on her staff. Her milky eyes, though clouded with age, seemed to pierce into Akosua's soul. "You seek wisdom, child," Nanaya said, her voice like the rustling of ancient leaves. "But wisdom comes at a price. What are you willing to give for the freedom you desire?" Akosua swallowed hard, her voice steadied despite her fear. "Anything, Nana. My happiness, my heart, and my future are worth more than chains made of custom." Nanaya nodded slowly. "Very well, then. The path you choose will not be easy, and it will test every fiber of your being. But first, tell me, what does your heart truly seek, child? Not what you wish to escape, but where you wish to go." Akosua hesitated, her voice a whisper against the silence of the night. "I seek a life where I can honor Kweku's memory in my way, where I can choose the man I call my husband, or even walk alone if that is my destiny." Nanaya's expression softened. "Then your journey begins tonight, Akosua. I will teach you what must be done, but the courage to walk this path will be yours alone." As the fire flickered between them, Akosua leaned closer to listen, her destiny slowly taking shape in the glowing embers of rebellion and hope. Nanaya leaned into the dim glow of the fire, her shadow dancing on the walls like an ancient spirit. She began to chant in a low, melodic tone, drawing patterns in the dust with the end of her staff. Akosua watched as strange symbols appeared, their meanings as mysterious as the elders' knowing gaze. "Child," Nanaya began, "to challenge tradition is to disrupt the balance. What you do will not only stir men but may awaken forces older and wilder than you can imagine. Are you prepared for what may come?" Akosua's chest tightened, but she nodded. "I am prepared, Nana. Tell me what I must do." The elder gestured for Akosua to come closer and handed her a small calabash filled with water from the sacred stream. "Tonight, under the shadow of the silk cotton tree near Kweku's resting place, you must pour this water over its roots. Speak his name aloud, and make your plea. If your love is true, he will answer." Akosua's eyes widened. "Kweku. He will answer." Nanaya's voice dropped to a whisper. "Perhaps not as you remember him, but his essence lingers. If your spirit is strong enough to summon him, he may guide your steps. But beware, the spirits do not always give clear answers, and their ways are not ours." That night, Akosua crept through the sleeping village, clutching the calabash to her chest. The air was thick and heavy, as if the land itself held its breath. The silk cotton tree loomed tall and ancient, its roots gnawed like the hands of an old man clutching the earth. With trembling hands, Akosua poured the water at the base of the tree, whispering Kweku's name. "Kweku, my love," she began, her voice breaking, "I need your guidance. I am being forced to a life I cannot bear. If you can hear me, show me the way." For a moment, all was silent but for the rustling of leaves in the faint breeze. Then, a low hum began to fill the air, growing louder until it was all around her. The shadows beneath the tree seemed to ripple and move, and Akosua's heart raced as a figure began to take shape, vaguely familiar, yet not entirely human. "Kweku," she whispered, her knees weak beneath her. The figure nodded, its face obscured by mist but its voice unmistakable. "Akosua, my love, why have you called me from the other side?" Tears streamed down her cheeks as she explained her plight. When she finished, the figure was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke in a voice that seemed to echo from both near and far. "You have the strength to change your fate, but it will not come without sacrifice. Return to the village and watch those around you closely. Not all who smile at you are friends, and not all who oppose you are enemies. Trust your instincts, for danger lies closer than you think." Before Akosua could ask more, the figure dissolved into the shadows, leaving her trembling in the moonlight. When she returned to the village, her thoughts were heavy with questions. Who could she trust? What had Kweku meant by danger? Her mind raced as she tried to piece together the cryptic message, but she had no answers. The following morning, the village was abuzz with commotion. Kwabena had gathered the elders, claiming that Akosua had been seen wandering near the silk cotton tree at an unholy hour. She defies our traditions and courts the spirits, he bellowed, his eyes gleaming with fury and something darker, fear. This is a dangerous woman who brings bad omens to our people. The villagers murmured, some in agreement and others in doubt. Akosua stood at the center of the gathering, her heart pounding as she met Kwabena's gaze. His smug expression told her he was not just a man scorned, he had something to hide. And in that moment, as the crowd turned to her for a response, Akosua realized the true battle was just beginning. Akosua stood tall at the center of the crowd, her mind racing. The weight of Kweku's cryptic warning hung over her like a storm cloud. She knew she couldn't let fear rule her, she had to face Kwabena, the elders, and the entire village with courage and wit. Nanenom, she began, addressing the elders, her voice clear and firm, you say I defy tradition, yet it is the very traditions of our people that teach us to seek guidance from our ancestors. Was it not Nana Anchi who once told us that the spirits watch over us, guiding us through times of confusion? The elders exchanged glances. Kwabena's grin faltered as murmurs rippled through the crowd. I went to the silk cotton tree, Akosua continued, not to bring bad omens, but to seek clarity. And clarity I received. Last night, Kweku's spirit spoke to me. The crowd gasped. Even Kwabena took an uneasy step back, his bravado waning. Spoke to you? Lies. You twist the truth to save yourself. Akosua fixed her gaze on him. Then let us test the truth of my words, Kwabena. For Kweku's spirit revealed more than just guidance, it revealed secrets. Shall I speak of them now, before the whole village? Kwabena's face turned pale. What nonsense is this, he snapped, but his voice shook. Akosua stepped closer, her voice rising with intensity. Kweku told me why he met his end by the riverside. It was no accident, and it was no spirit that took him. It was greed. It was betrayal. It was a brother who envied him and sought to take what was his land, his wife, his life. The crowd erupted in shocked whispers. Kwabena staggered back, his eyes darting to the elders, then to the villagers. You can't prove this, he shouted, his composure unraveling. But Akosua pressed on. Can I not? When Kweku didn't return that day, you were the one who suggested searching the riverside, as if you knew where he'd be. You claimed you found him there, but the villagers remember, you came back with no tears, no grief, only the claim that you were now the head of the family. An elder, Nana Anchi, stepped forward. Kwabena, these are serious accusations. You have been quick to claim Akosua as your wife, yet slow to mourn your brother. Speak now, are these claims true? Kwabena opened his mouth, but no words came. His silence was louder than any confession, and the crowd erupted again, this time in anger. That's why he wanted her so badly, a woman cried. He wanted everything Kweku had. The spirits won't let this stand, another man shouted. Nana Anchi raised his staff, commanding silence. Enough. Kwabena, until this matter is resolved, you are stripped of your rights as head of the family. The ancestors will decide your fate. Two men stepped forward to seize Kwabena, who struggled briefly before slumping in defeat. As they led him away, Akosua felt a wave of relief wash over her. But her work was not yet done. Turning to the elders, she said, Nanenom, this is the danger of blindly following tradition. It can give power to those who use it for selfish ends. Let us honor our ancestors, but let us also use wisdom to guide us. A woman is not a leaf to be blown by the wind. She is the root that holds the tree steady. The elders nodded solemnly, and Nana Anchi spoke. Akosua, you have shown courage and wisdom beyond your years. From this day forward, no woman of Nyanikrom will be forced to marry against her will. The choice will be hers and hers alone. The crowd cheered, and Akosua's heart swelled with hope. She had not only freed herself from Kwabena's clutches but had also brought change to her people. That night, as she stood under the silk cotton tree, Akosua whispered her gratitude to the shadows. Though Kweku was gone, his spirit lived on, not just in her heart, but in the new legacy of freedom and strength she had forged. And for the first time since his death, Akosua felt truly free.